Welcome to Behind the Scenes. It is 4:44 in the morning. I've been working on this project since I've envisioned it for quite a while, but my mustache is too long. I need to shave it. I've envisioned this project since the past 5-6 days. Just got back from my trip and I went to the fire department. Got here at about 2 p.m. or so. I had some car issues, but I replaced my battery. You can see here, I don't know if I can show this. I have my mic and my headset, not my headset, the thing that holds my phone right there. Along with some other stuff. Maybe I brought some snacks, I'm not sure. And so I came here at 3 p.m., 3 p.m. today, because I was like, I'm gonna make a big recording over an EMT-B review, right? Like a review that is going to be so useful. If you watch this review, you will, if you have failed the NREMT-B or if you are worried about it, this will help you pass, right? So that was my plan. As you can see here, I've got the whiteboards behind me. At Annabelle, we just started an EMT course again. Started on January 20th. You can see Kevin wrote it because his handwriting is good. He wrote a little smiley face. Come on by at Annabelle Fire Department. Check out our Facebook. Even though this channel is not technically affiliated with them, I'm heavily influenced by them. And we'd love to have you for the next course, if not this one. You can also check out Texas EMS Academy too, another great academy. I help teach in both of them. And I help teach for EMT basic reviews. And so I was like, you know what? Why don't I like teaching these students. Why don't I just make a big review video for free for everybody? And so I was working on it and I was like, I know exactly what I'm going to present. I'm going to talk about vital signs. Then I'm going to work my way down, And then you know what? I realized I can do so much more with it. By the way, you can see here, this is something else Kevin did. The blood flow through the heart. I had somebody message me asking about the blood flow through the heart. They have issues with it, which is understandable, but it's actually really easy. We'll do a little side note here just to kind of go over it. I'm gonna make a video going over it, but you can see here, excuse me, a great thing to note, by the way, whenever you think about arteries versus veins, is veins bring blood towards the heart. Arteries bring blood away from the heart. Why is that important? Well, you see, most people, whenever they think of veins, they think of deoxygenated blood. When they think of arteries, they think of oxygenated blood. But what happens if I told you that's not always the case? Pulmonary arteries take deoxygenated blood away from the heart, and pulmonary veins take oxygenated blood towards the heart. But a lot of people think, oh, veins, they always carry deoxygenated blood. Well, that's an instance in the pulmonary veins where they actually have oxygenated blood. So it's very confusing to students. I even just messed it up right now, but if I wrote it out, it'd be fine. Real quick thing, if we take a look at it together, we have the superior and inferior vena cava flowing deoxygenated blood to the right atrium. You think about tri before you bi, so tricuspid valve before the bicuspid valve, also known as the mitral valve, but just know the tri before you bi, and that is two things, okay? Then you got your right ventricle, which pushes deoxygenated blood through the pulmonary artery to the lungs, goes back after it goes through perfusion through the alveoli, back to the pulmonary veins, to the left atrium. We then have our bicuspid or our mitral valve to our left ventricle, which pushes blood to the aorta, which perfuses the whole body, and it goes all back in a circle, back to the right atrium through the superior, which just means above, the inferior, or just means below, vena cava. Super simple. Very simple stuff, but I understand a lot of students are confused with it. I'm going to make a video going over it, and it's kind of breaking it down slower. That's the general gist. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. So I thought to myself, I came here at 2-3 p.m. and I was like, you know what, Mario, let's make this review. And then I was like, you know, it would be really slick if I made a printout. At this rate, it's gonna be like 12, 15 pages long. And I was like, what if I make a printout along with my video, and you have that printout as like a reference where I can say like, okay, on page 9, blah, blah, we're gonna be going over EMS operations, right? It's something that a lot of people don't talk about, but that's like 20% of your test. So it's really important to know a couple things, not a lot of things, but a couple things. And so I was like, you know what, that'd be really slick. So I stopped this whole idea of, yeah, I could talk about a review like I normally would with students, but why not make something better, right? Something more tangible for students to use. So I'm gonna show you guys what that looks like now. I just gotta go over here. I know what you're thinking, Mario, did you ever leave here? If you got here at 3 p.m. and it's 4:44 a.m.? I did. I left at 6, 7 p.m., had some dinner, it was fantastic. And then I came back around 11, 12 a.m. Normally I would sleep and just work on this tomorrow, but I work at 7 a.m. I'm already up so late, that's why I have bags in my eyes. But that's okay, because when you love what you do, it don't even feel like work. Technically it's not work. No big deal. So, I'll give you guys a little sneak peek of my review that I've been working on. It's very cool. Oh man, that looks horrible. Can I do it like this? What if I show you guys like this? I'm having so much trouble showing my work through a phone because I'm doing it like as a mirror, adjust with the mirror. But if you can kind of see here, I'm writing out, I'm not a physician, right? I'm talking about like some medications that you need to know, some easy ways to memorize it. It's already 9 pages long. Vital signs, things like that. And so, let me hide my screen for a moment. I'm gonna have a student copy of this, right? And I'm gonna also shout out Kevin because he really helped out with this. But I'm gonna have it to where it's like empty here, right? So can you kind of see how it says it's empty? You see like vital signs, it's empty right here for like blood pressure, heart rate, things like that. Ooh, I need to fix that. And so I know what you're thinking, Mario. Well, how is that gonna help a student if you only give them the empty sheet and you keep the master sheet? Well, think about this. Imagine how slick it would be if I made it's probably gonna be like a 2-hour EMT basic review that, while it doesn't encompass every subject in its entirety, I don't think it's necessary, by the way, a lot of students will fail by like 20 points, 30 points, and this may give them the boost that they need to get them to that passing score, which is all I care about. Then you can learn more on your own. Like, I'm not gonna, like the different types of shock, for instance, like compensated, decompensated shock, irreversible shock. I'm not gonna talk about it. Obstructive shock, that's kind of interesting. Distributive shock, neurogenic shock. Yeah, I can talk cardiogenic shock. I could talk about those different ones. There's other ones, but I don't think you're gonna be really asked about it in your national. What are you gonna be asked? You're gonna be asked to use the GCS or the Glasgow Coma Scale scoring, and you're gonna be able to, or you're gonna have to compile a scoring, right? That's a question. You're going to get asked that, right? There's like I would assume like a 95% chance you're gonna be asked that because you need to know that for your job. So it's free points, only if you know how to do it. APGAR score, you know what the APGAR score is? For some people, it's super obvious. It's whenever a baby's born, you assess a baby, right? First minute, you're blah, blah, you're with the baby, checking their appearance, their pulse, their grimace, their activity, and their respirations, right? And then in 5 minutes, you recheck the APGAR score. Same 5 things. It goes from a scale of 10 to 0, 10 being the best, 0 being the worst. It's okay if a baby's not at a 10 right off the back, but we want to get them there, right? We want to see them crying. That's great. We really want to see them crying. We want to see them pink everywhere, and so forth. But it's a very intimidating thing for students. And when they do not study the APGAR, if you don't study it, you just lost a point. And that could literally be the defining thing for you. Another thing like ectopic pregnancy issues. You could think of placenta previa, placenta abrupto. It's important. Those are terms you need to know. I always say this wrong, but like urticaria, what does that mean? Do you know what that means? You need to. If you don't, you're not going to be able to identify that somebody may be having anaphylaxis, and then you can save them with like an EpiPen or something like that. So, hear this. I am going to have a printout. It's going to be free because I believe that this education content should be free. And you can print it out at your leisure. And you can follow along with the video, right? You can have it downloaded on your computer. I either do a Word doc. I prefer a Word doc if I can help it, but I will also do a Google document if a Word doc doesn't work. But you can follow along during the video, right? And then I'll say answers at the 22-minute mark, and you flip over, you're on vital signs or whatever, like answers at 2-minute mark. You go over to the 2-minute mark part of the video, because that part's not filled out. I'm like, okay, vital signs, what are they? And you're gonna have blood pressure, you're gonna be looking for the normal ranges, and it's gonna be blank. But then I'm gonna be like, okay, your blood pressure for the top number is going to be between 100 to 139 units, or millimeters per mercury. And then you're gonna be able to fill it out, you're gonna be able to type it out, or you're gonna be able to write it out. You may say, Mario, I just want the answers, just give me the answers. I might release just like the master copy, but you're not going to be ready for the national. You need to put in a tiny bit of work. And I think that if you truly engage with this whenever I'm completed with it, which I should be at the end of the week, it's January 22nd right now, at 4:57 a.m. But whenever I complete this, it should be pretty nice, pretty engaging. And if you actually put in the 2 hours or so, it's probably going to take maybe, unfortunately, it might take 3. And you can even do like 1.25 times speed if you really need to. This should be the one-stop review that you need, which is what I want to create. I want to create a free review that you can utilize, to help you pass the national, because that's all I really care about. Is I want to assist people that are kind of on the cusp of passing the national registry and just learning. And also, hey, even if you're not a EMT-B student, I want to create some content that you can, as like a civilian or bystander, you can learn from it, right? Because I just think it's a really useful thing to do. I think informal discussions are great, and breaking down complex subjects into easily digestible material is something that I'm really interested in doing. Sometimes medicine, they make it so uptight and try to make it as complicated as possible. Like the fractures, for instance. Okay, there's like 7 main types of fractures, not 7 main types. And in this review, I only talk about like 2, and really, you only really need to know 1. Why? Because the national, from my experience, and from my understanding, really only talks about 1 type of fracture, and that's a green stick fracture or hairline fracture. What is a green stick fracture? Well, it's if, like, let's say, for instance, you're dealing with your ulna bone right here, right? Like, let's say this is your bone, and halfway through you have a crack, but it doesn't fully complete and create a full break in the bone. It's a green line fracture, or a green stick fracture. I'm thinking of hairline. That can be confusing for students. And if they don't know the term, they're just going to miss it. Well, it's in there. What echomyosis? Do you know what echomyosis is? It's literally just bruising, but the national's not going to give that to you. One thing I'm a little worried about is I'm going to have a medication section where I'm going to talk about medications that you need to know for the national registry. Now you may say, Mario, are you going to talk about all the ins and outs, the dosaging, the primary effect, the secondary effect, blah, 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 what it affects on? No, who cares, right? Who cares? Okay, that is very important for a physician to know, and it is important in medical information. Do you need to know for your national? Heck, no, you don't need to know it, right? Yeah, I can type out like 5 sentences over like lisinopril or labetalol or metoprolol succinate versus metoprolol tartrate, which one is 1 a day, one is 2 a day. You need to know the difference, by the way, if you're using this outside of the review. I can talk about what's some other medications? I can talk about metformin being PO or oral, and then I can talk about Lantus. I can talk about Toujeo. I can talk about Novolog, Humalog, Novolin, just some type of metformin being like an oral diabetic medication, and the other ones being insulin related. I can do that, but you really just need to know that it's for diabetic patients. You really just need to know that these medications are for hypertension patients, and that's it. That's all you need to know, okay? Blood thinners, Eliquis. Do you need to know the whole mechanism and pathway? No. If you see the word Eliquis, think blood thinner. That's it. That's all you need to know. And I think that sometimes people like to fluff up reviews where they're like, oh, this is a beta agonist, or oh, this is a calcium channel blocker. Who cares for a review over the national? You just need to know if it's for hypertension, or you need to know if it's an erectile dysfunction medication, or if it's a diabetic medication, or if it's a diabetic medication, things like that, right? Don't be so uptight. I find it pretentious and I find it annoying. It's just the excessive medical jargon. Anyway, it's 5:01 in the morning. By the way, check out the link for the Discord below. If you want to assist me in my free medical educational journey, I did just create a membership tab. You can check it out if you'd like. If you want to support, hey, Mr. Moneybags. I won't complain, but also don't feel pressured at all. I'm going to respond to comments either way. Put like extra focus on membership comments. It's kind of true, but it's kind of not, because I'm going to try to respond to every single comment. I type really fast. I'm really just killing time because I don't want to. This has been such a long project. I gotta work in 2 hours. Anyway, if you did like the video, like, comment, and subscribe. It means a lot. Thank you all for your support. You guys are very sweet. I just made a Family Guy versus Steve Urkel poll on the community tab. Check out the community tab. I need to start posting more on there. It's a lot of fun on youtube.com/amateur EMS. I need to get to work. See ya.